quiet, numbskulls. I'm broadcasting.
Hello, and welcome to the podcast. So there I was, which is how all great aviation tales begin. This is episode number 73, titled 156618, My Old Warhorse. What a great story.
Right. Outstanding story. And I actually made the mistake of asking the stupid question. What was your favorite airplane to fly?
Yeah.
Oh, so, gee, I wonder.
Just to tease, our guest, his call sign was Hound, and he flew RA-5C Vigilantes in Vietnam. And boy, oh boy, does he have a story.
Yes, he does. It's a hair-raising, hair-curling, unbelievable
palm
tale.
Sweating, butt clenching. Yeah.
So it's amazing, and we're going to have him back, too. Real quick, some admin stuff. Sponsor for this episode is Robin's Bird Brain Designs. Get yourself some custom gifts. You got the Christmas season coming up fast on us. Get some custom gifts. Show someone you put some thought and effort into a custom gift for them. RobinsBirdBrainDesigns.com. Then what's the other thing that has come up over the last week or so, Fig, is some of these reviews. We're over 100 reviews now. Thank you. May God bless each and every one of you. We don't have a single 4-star review, 3-star, 2-star, 1-star, and that's not a challenge. All right? Keep the 5-star reviews coming, everybody.
It is very humbling when you read these. Very humbling.
It is. In fact, I think I'd like to read a couple just so people can get a flavor of what it is that you mean to us. We're so humble to get these. Buffs231 wrote that you'll get addicted. These shows transport the listener to places and times that bring back memories for some and open a world to others. Repeat and Fig are the Stephen Ambrose of military aviation, recording the great stories that need to be passed on to the next generation. These two great aviators, that's us, are serving the aviation world with this creation of theirs, as well as that they served our country as Marine Harrier attack pilots. Outstanding. Thanks, guys, for what you do, and keep up the great work. Wow. That was it was kind of humbling and embarrassing to read that in a way.
Well, thank you.
We didn't create this. We just fell bass-ackwards into it.
Yeah, we're a couple crayon-eating window lickers that just happened to, listen, this is good. We're doing something that we are passionate about, and it's very humbling to find out that there's so many other individuals out there that feel the same way.
Indeed.
Well, let me read one from A Digital Paradox. You won't find a better chemistry than that of Fig and RePete. My only complaint is they're unable to make more content more often with their busy schedules. This show is responsible for quite a few moments where I had to pull over and avoid wrecking while laughing. These guys not only mesh well, but their guests just become part of the show each and every time. Incredible fun and enjoyment lay within Gather's episodes, and get a spark of excitement whenever I see they've posted a new episode. Blue side up, my friends. I appreciate and respect both of you, not just for your service, but your contribution to other aviators in this amazing podcast. Much love and God bless. Well, God bless you, and thank you for that.
Indeed. Wow. And I think the thing that gels that for me there, Fig, in that one is the guests become part of the show. The guests are the show. I mean, you and I are here every week because we're the knuckleheads that conglomerate it all. But, oh my, it's the guests that this is about. And we are thrilled to be able to do this. Just like we're thrilled to be able to bring you guys like Hound.
Oh my gosh.
Who you'll hear in a few minutes.
We had a hard time. We had a hard time settling on a title because there were so many options.
There really were. There were some amazing ones out there. In fact,
let's read a couple.
Here are some of the ones we considered. You have to make a choice, or you have to make the choice. And he was talking about whether you needed to slow down so you could eject, or keep your speed up so you would outrun the MiG that was chasing you.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
How about this? Slow the down so I can join on you.
Right. His Phantom, F4 Phantom Escort couldn't keep up with him.
or this, I hit a Mach 4 speed bump.
Yeah.
Yeah,
to which I said, no, the Mach 4 speed bump hit you.
I hope the plane holds together. Yeah, these were just all options we had to wade through before we set on the title. And you are going to love Hound. And because we do. And my palms are still a little sticky from the story.
Right?
Exactly. I was sweating.
Nice landing. Here's your rum.
Wow.
Hey, one other quick one, and we're going to have Hound back, I can assure you. He told us one after the show was over about, we'll just tease it, showing up drunk to a simulator.
Yeah. And this is how it goes. As soon as we stop recording, they start telling more stories, and we're like, no. Yeah. Write bullets down. We're having you back. Just keep going, but just take bullets down right now so you can remember, and we're going to have you back because we got to get these on record, man.
Yeah, absolutely. These are great stuff. So,
all right,
I'm getting out of the way before I get hit by a speed bump.
Yeah,
about crossing the pond.
Yeah, right on.
At night.
Here comes Hound. Don't sit on the ejection seat.
Don't do it.
On the tanker, through the weather. Oh, and to the tanker crew who did that. Thanks a lot. We really appreciated that. I'm just kidding. No, I'm not. Well, there I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fun.
And there I was, 25 years old, in a Mach 2 photo reconnaissance jet, working my way up the Red River with MiGs, surface-air missiles, bad weather, and no help anywhere.
Oh, shit. Yikes!
And that's how all great aviation tales begin. And he was wondering why he wasn't a Kinney shoe salesman at that point, I think. I could be wrong. Greetings, everyone. Repeat here, coming to you from New Hampshire today with my co-host, Fig.
Yes, sir. Coming to you from Kearney, Missouri. And we have
got a special
guest with us, former naval aviator and SA-2 killer, avoider, Hound. Welcome, Hound.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. And you guys make this very pleasant by having me laugh before we even get going.
Well, listen, just to tease our listeners, I got to read your account of this, what you opened with, and it made my veins go cold. My palms were sweating, and I can't wait to hear the whole story, but we got a lot to talk about before we get to that.
We do indeed. We do indeed. What's the first question we always ask, Fig?
So, Hound, how did you become, how is it that you got interested in aviation, and how did you become a naval aviator?
All right, I got interested because I had an uncle, and he flew an Army, like a scout plane, looking around for stuff. And the Army, I grew up in Long Island, out in the potato fields. He landed it in a field, and my parents drove me over there in their old station wagon. And he landed, and I got in the airplane, and he took off, and I looked down, and we were just circling the field, and I looked down, and I saw my mom and dad, and I instantly knew that I was going to fly airplanes the rest of my life. It was very simple. Yeah. And so then I was just, I wasn't the most well-informed guy. I grew up in potato farms. I figured, I started watching The Men of Annapolis and Victory at Sea, and I said, I want to be a Navy aviator flying on and off aircraft carriers when I grow up. But I didn't know you could go to any college. I said, I guess I got to go to the Naval Academy. So I started, I started studying my butt off so I could get good grades, and God gave me a great body. I could run a quarter mile in 48 seconds in high school. So
whoa.
Yeah, I could go
smoking.
I could go just about anywhere I wanted, and of course, I picked the Naval Academy. I was running in Madison Square Garden, and the coach at the time, Al Cantello, came up to me and he said, "I hear you've already committed to a big track school there, Villanova, but would you like to go to the Naval Academy?" And I said, "Yeah, I really would." He said, "Okay, let me look at this. I'll get back to you in a little bit." So a couple of days later, he calls me and he says, the senator from New York's already made all his choices, but the senator from Pennsylvania has one opening, and he's going to give it to me. So you can go to the Naval Academy because Senator Knox picked you from Pennsylvania. So I went to the first Army-Navy game in Philly, and I looked at my address, and it was a vacant lot. And that's...
Okay, well, I hate to tell you this, but the statute of limitations never runs out on that, so we've got to take it all away from you. You never went to Vietnam. You never got the fly jet.
Oh, my God.
It was a scam right from the start. But
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's how I got into the Naval Academy. And when I got done, I didn't know whether I wanted to go Marine Corps or Navy. So I got in line for the Marine Corps because all the jocks are going in the Marine Corps, which is stupid during Vietnam. So I got to the head of the line, and I said, "Hey, I got a question for you." And he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "If I get all the way through flight training and get all the way through the replacement air group, the RAG, which you can't call it anymore,
Right.
can you still give me an M16 and send me as a platoon commander to Vietnam?" He goes, "Oh yeah, Marines come first, buddy." I said, "Thank you very much," and I slid over to the Navy line.
See ya.
Yeah, I know you guys were Marines, but I had to tell you that story.
Yeah, well, when Repeat and I were getting in, there wasn't a shooting war going on in Southeast Asia. As a matter of fact, there was no war going on in Southeast Asia. Anyway.
That's a good thing.
It was.
Yeah.
So I got done with flight training and did well, and I did well around the ship, mostly around the boat. And they were looking for guys with good grades that did well, and because the Vigi is really difficult to bring on board the carrier. Killed a lot of guys.
So the Vigi, I got to stop for a second. We always try to do this for everybody. So the Vigi is the A5 Vigilante aircraft.
RA-5C Vigilante.
Yeah. A real rocket ship, though.
It was a Mach 2 photo reconnaissance ship. It was originally built to carry nukes over to Russia. That's why it had a linear bomb bay that they filled with fuel tanks after they stopped that mission.
Okay.
But it was an incredible airplane. It was really ahead of its time. It came out at the same time as the F4, and it was the first Navy jet that had fly-by-wire, special ramps, all this stuff. It was way ahead of its time. And
was that a swing wing airplane?
No, just fixed wings. But I was just reading.
It had no ailerons, though, right?
No, it had no ailerons. It was it was totally different. It had spoiler deflectors on the wings, and that's what made you turn. And the horizontal stabilizer was the same size as the wings on an A4. That's how big it was. And,
oh my gosh!
And a vertical stabilizer all moved by itself, and the horizontal stabilizer. So you didn't need things on the rudders or the aileron. It was all really new stuff.
Crazy. That is amazing technology, and what's even more amazing is that's essentially the technology used on the Super Hornet today.
Yeah, pretty much the same. Just better computers on a Super Hornet, I hope.
Well, there's that.
Now, hey, Hound, did you? Let's see. Oh, I lost my train of thought. It had to do with either the Vigilante or flight school. Well, okay, but let's back up a second.
Let's go to flight school and then work our way into Vietnam.
Well, hold on a second. We understand that we had a former guest that you were classmates with, Panther.
Well, wait now, Panther. That was his call sign?
Yes. Yeah.
You got to tell me his name.
Charlie Bolden.
Oh, Charlie Bolden. Yeah. He was a lot smarter than me. He did really well.
He's a lot smarter than all three of us put together. No offense, sir.
If we combined our IQs, it would be a fraction of where he's at.
Yeah, a good man knows his limitations. I was able to work really hard and just barely get through, but it was.
Although he had some stories about getting. Which class was it? He had trouble with. Do you remember?
Probably something like thermodynamics. That was the one I really had trouble with. I had one of those professors that wrote the equation with one hand, and before you could write it down, he erased it with the other. I think he was trying to get us all to fail. I think he hated Navy pilots or to be pilots. But but everybody, I'm sure he took aero. We were all mechanical engineers, whether we liked it or not.
Right.
But But thermodynamics, if you went into the aero side like a minor, a lot of people really had a lot of trouble with it. It was the hardest course I ever took in my life.
Okay. Yeah, I forget which one it was. It sounds like it was something like that. And yeah. I guess the professor, he told a story of the professor going back and saying, all right, if you promise, not to tell any. No, it wasn't the French. There was one, I'm confusing it now because there was another one that was French, and the guy said, I'll pass you in your French course, but you got to promise me never to speak French or tell anyone you took French here.
So that might have been Panther.
May have been, yeah. It's like,
right? I don't remember, but that sounds familiar.
Yeah.
All right.
But
so you, where'd you go through jet training?
After I got through basic, I went to Meridian, Mississippi, NES.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went there, and I was flying F-9F Cougars, which
wow, yeah.
Well, it take you 20 minutes to climb at 20,000 feet. It had a little
right.
Yeah, it has so underpowered, but it was cool. It was a fighter, so I was really excited. But then you get up to 20,000 feet, do some ACM, and make one turn, and you have to knock it off. You're down to 10,000 feet.
Yeah. Right? Yeah, exactly. So,
yeah, the good old days. So a lot of guys went to A-Force in Corpus Christi, but I went to the F-9s in Meridian. And I got to tell you, I'd much rather be in Corpus Christi than Meridian, Mississippi. It was like we were 30 miles out of Meridian. Did you guys do anything in Meridian?
I was a Meridian.
Yeah. I mean, you drive in downtown Meridian on a Sunday morning, and you think they'd had a nuclear drill or something. There was not even stray dogs on the streets. Right. It wasn't a great place. Yeah, it wasn't a great place for a bachelor. That's all I gotta say.
Right. No, the Texas Riviera is definitely better for for the bachelor life there on the beach than the Mississippi backwoods. I've driven through Meridian a couple times, but that's as close as I want to get.
Yeah. Now, people are going to get mad when they hear that, but this was a long time ago. This is 52 years ago, so I don't know what it's like now. Interesting.
That's a pretty area, but given a choice, I'd much rather be on the beaches of South Padre Island.
Yeah. I'd take a cross country and fly the F-9 down to Corpus just to drink some beers and see some girls. I didn't even see girls in that Meridian.
Right. No, I won't tell the joke. As an LSU grad, I always like busting on the. Someone's echoing.
Is it me?
Yeah, I think so. Let me double check.
All right, I just turned off echo cancellation because I.
Yeah, I'm gonna turn it back on. So
sorry, Hound. It's always a challenge. You got two Marines that normally eat crayons and lick windows, and we're trying to do something technical here.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm not any better than you. Just putting in this mic and hooking it up was a big deal for me.
But we're there and we got it. So
we have to. Hey, RePete. Yeah. I have to acknowledge real quick. We got in contact with you through. Dago Billy, he's one of our supporters, was sitting at a bar in Denver and happened to talk to your son. And so that's how we got connected.
Yeah, absolutely. And my son...
I want to throw a thank you out to Dago Billy for facilitating that. We really appreciate your support.
It's amazing. It's amazing the things that happen because you're sitting in a bar having a beer. Well, good things and bad things, but that was a good thing. My son called me the next day and said, "You're not going to believe what happened and who I talked to, and these guys want to talk to you." And I said, "Oh, okay, great." And off we went.
Yeah.
Good.
All right, so you got winged in Meridian. You flew was that the advanced trader at the time, the Cougar?
Yeah, that was the advanced. Okay. Yeah, I had the T2 before that.
T2 Buckeye.
Yeah, the T2 Buckeye. Where the heck was that? I got to think about that one.
Was that Pensacola or Meridian?
That wasn't in Meridian?
I think that was in Pensacola. Yeah, I went to Meridian for advanced jet training. That's when we're still doing a lot of training in Pensacola.
Because when Fig and I went through, you'd go to primary either in Corpus or Pensacola, and then you'd do both intermediate and advanced jets at Meridian, Kingsville, or Beeville.
Yeah.
So
right.
So it's changed a little.
Yeah, and it's of course changed again, and I think they're even doing Fig. Were they doing it by the time you left? They were doing inter-service, so Air Force guys were training with us, and vice versa.
They were just starting to. We had Air Force instructors coming over to ride along and see how we do things. That was the beginning. That was I left in 1996, so it was just shortly after that we started to cross pollinate. And from what I understand, they're kind of doing away with that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You guys are whippersnappers. I got my wings in '69, so
that's awesome.
that means I'm an old guy.
That was going to be my next question. I got winged in 90, and I think RePete got winged in 89.
Yeah, 89.
90?
Yep.
89. Yeah.
Almost 90. December 89.
Very cool.
Got winged in 1969.
Yeah.
Nice.
And then the one thing I have to say is I was flying these old F9 Cougars, and I drove to Albany, Georgia to see it go to the RAG and check in. Replacement Air Group RAG. And I drove in, and there was like 10 Vigis sitting on a line at RVAH3, and they looked like rocket ships. I mean, it just blew me away. And all my friends were saying, what size shoes you wear? Because I know you're going to die. And I like your uniforms and your shoes when you're dead. I said, oh, thanks.
Thanks, bro.
That's what friends are for, you know?
Yeah.
If I had a
You're on
girlfriend,
fire. Can I have your Corvette?
if I had a girlfriend, they probably would have wanted her too, but I didn't have a girlfriend.
Oh,
man.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, but I mean, a line of 10 Vigis sitting there, they're big. They look like they're going 400 knots sitting on the line.
Oh, yeah. Just sit still.
And it's just like, holy, what have I got myself into?
So what were the Vigis, when did they hit the fleet? Was that fairly recent before you got winged? I mean, how?
They've been around for a while. They actually came to the fleet about the same time. They did the same time as the F-4, so that was when the F-4s come in. Like,
is that mid-'60s, early '60s?
Yeah, maybe the late '60s.
Okay.
Late '60s. Yeah.
Okay, so it wasn't real old, and you got. So did you select Vigis, or they kind of push you there because you had good boat grades?
I think a little bit of both. And right before I put in my three, listed my three picks,
Right.
They had a couple of Vigis fly into the base there, and God, I said, man, that'd be really cool to fly that thing. I didn't know anything about them, so I put F4s, and A5s, and so boom, A5s. That's how I got it. And
nice.
The rest is history, you know. But we were the first Nuggets. They never let first tour guys fly it before that. It was
really?
You had to fly like there was A4s and F4 guys there that already flew a tour, and they did good, so they sent them to Vigis if they wanted. And
okay.
So I was I was Nugget 4. I was the fourth Nugget aviator to come in, and at first they treated us well. The Commodore wanted us, but the average guy on the in the fleet, they thought we were going to all kill ourselves and probably kill some of our friends when we did it. So we had to prove ourselves. You know, it was a chore, but we all had, it was good. We all were good pilots, and we proved them wrong. Well, most of us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. But that was, I can only imagine what a handful of airplane that must have been going to. The transition from, turboprops to jets was probably just as big as the transition from the F9 to the Vigilante.
Yeah. I mean, no comparison at all. I mean, the F9, if it was too hot, you couldn't fly that day because it wouldn't get up the end of the runway, wouldn't get any air. And a Vigi, man, even in military power, pushed you back in the seat, and then when you hit the burners, it was quite impressive. Quite impressive.
That is cool. Yeah, and I think I read in your article that the Phantom couldn't keep up with her when it was time to rock and roll. The Vigilante was it.
They get pissed off because when we're over Vietnam, if we go in there at military power and they'd be in min burner. And then when the shooting started, because we were so, we had nothing on the airplane.
Right.
Slim.
Yeah, you were naked.
Yeah, so when the shooting started, I go to min burner and F4 being max burner, and when I really got the shit hit the fan, I got really scared. I go in full afternoon. He says, "You asshole! They're shooting at you, and everything's coming past me. They're coming at me."
That's like the old joke, right? The guy's putting on his sneakers, going. The guy's like, "What are you doing? You'll never outrun the bear." He says, "I don't have to outrun the bear. I just got out faster than you."
Faster than you.
Yeah, it had no problem. Oh. It had no problem doing Mach, over Mach 1, maybe 700 plus knots, right on over the top of the trees. That was our big defense. The MiGs couldn't catch us. So the way they shot down the MiGs is they'd sneak up on you. They'd try and drive you. This is what was happening to us. They'd be shooting missiles at you and the F4 escort. And they try and separate you so a little later a MiG could roll up behind you, And so that's what happened to me, which in the story I'll tell you.
Yeah,
roll up behind you, unescorted at that point.
Yeah.
Exactly. But and so just a couple things here. Styx is our other admin sidekick here, and very helpful. And he's looked up a couple things. He's telling us it came in 61, left the Vigilante, and left service in 79. Here's the interesting thing to me. It had the same motor as the F4, but you were so much slicker, you were that much faster.
Yeah, it came in 61, but they were doing all the test work and stuff. It went to the fleet in 65, 66.
Okay, I'll get a picture of the Vigilante actually into the audio podcast itself, so people listening on podcasts and.
Okay.
Well, that like you said, like Hound said, that airplane looks like it's doing 800 knots.
Just sitting still. Exactly. Yeah. It's a gorgeous jet. It is just beautiful. So.
Our motto was unarmed and unafraid, which was bullshit. Because we were unarmed and scared shitless over Vietnam. But it sounds,
beautiful.
I like the unarmed and unafraid sounds a lot better.
And uncatchable. That's the beauty.
Yeah.
So it was Wings of Gold is the magazine that your story has come out in. And you might understand. So only part of it's out though. The ending. You can listen here, folks, and get the ending today as opposed to going and reading issues ahead. But so the first part of it came out. You found yourself getting all ramped up for a med cruise, as I recall. Ready to go to the Med and see Europe and spend some time with your bride.
That was going to be a little post-honeymoon, right?
Yeah, it was a honeymoon cruise.
How'd that work out for you?
Well, my wife's still here with me, but as far as going on a cruise, not so good. But so, we were in Mayport, Naval Station Mayport, on the USS Saratoga, and I was on a cross-country, and President Nixon decided it was time to kick some ass in Vietnam. Because we hadn't bonded in 4 years, North Vietnam. And so I was on a cross country with my buddy Brian Dempsey, and I get a call. We just landed and went to he lived in New Jersey, and I lived in Long Island. And so I was sitting at home drinking my second beer, and they called me and said, "You got to get in that plane and fly it back right now. We're leaving tomorrow on the USS Saratoga." What? Yeah. I said, "Wait, I've already had 2 beers. I'm not getting in an airplane," which I probably could have, but I just didn't feel like doing it right then. And and I knew they couldn't say no. So I called my wife, and we'd just been married, and she didn't even know what kind of uniforms I wore. I just wore flight suit, khakis every once in a while. So she had to pack my cruise box. And so one of my buddies went over and got all the uniforms and put those in there. And they took them down, and they were shipped out the next morning while I was trying to get home to the Saratoga. And when I got on the ship, it was interesting because she got all the uniforms right, but in the little goodie deals, she gave me a tennis racket and a bunch of golf balls. So
something got lost in translation, Hound.
I don't know, but
she must have thought you were going to have lots of time on your hands.
Yeah. So it was we cruised for a month straight, 24/7 at 25 knots to get quick stop in the Philippines and then over to the Gulf of Tonkin, and off we went.
Wow.
Yeah. I got to tell you, we were naive and stupid. We're all the way over there. We're talking how we're going to kick somebody's ass and all this stuff. And it turns out the bad guys were really good. And we lost like 4 airplanes in the first 2 weeks.
Oh,
Well, they had all that time without being bombarded to reinforce their defenses.
Yep.
Crying out
They
loud.
got MiG-21s and they got a lot of SAMs. The big thing is we lost a lot of Vigis to AAA because they had quad 23 Mikes radar guided, and if you got down to their level, they were going to take you out. You know, we lost more Vigis to AAA than the MiGs. And SAMs.
so they were just putting up a wall of lead, and you guys were flying into it.
Yep, they knew you were going to come down the line to take pictures, and you had to go wings level for about a minute or so, and you were just a big grape.
Jeez.
So,
Jeez.
yeah, it's in the thing. You're waiting and you're jinking and you're coming up on a target, and the reconnaissance attack navigator in the back, the RAN, says, "Okay, ready, wings level," and you just go wings level, and there's all this crap going by the cockpit, and you're just saying, "Oh God, I hope we make it."
I hope none are addressed to me.
And I said maybe I should have gone a little faster, but I would always be doing around 600 knots, but I'd be down around 4,000 feet. We tried not to go below 4,000 feet, and, because that's when you really got into heavy stuff.
Yeah. The pieces of lead were much closer together.
Yep. And I was telling RePete the other day when I was talking to him, the big difference then is their technology was as good as ours. I mean, it wasn't like they had those SAM-2s were very effective. The MiG-21 was a great fighter, and they've been doing it for a long time. It started with the French, and they were way better than we thought they were. Well, of course, they were getting helped a little bit. I think there was some Russians in the SAM sites, helping them run the thing. That's just my intake.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Well, we found out with Captain Royce Williams, the Russians were shooting at us in Korea too, and nobody wanted to know about that or wanted anyone to know about that. That was top secret. So, don't know if you heard his story. He's the gent who got the Navy Cross earlier this year for shooting down 4 MiGs in 1952.
God bless him. God bless him.
Yeah. Is that awesome?
Well,
I'm sure the Russians were standing there side by side helping them out.
Yeah.
Well, Hound, how many Vigis were in a Navy squadron? How many Vigis were in your squadron? How many pilots?
We had 5 crews, and we had I sometimes 3, sometimes 4 airplanes. I put in my article we had 3, but I forgot there was a hangar plane sitting in there the whole time. So we had 4 airplanes, 5 crews, and I was the JO. I was just made lieutenant. So guess who got all the crappy missions?
Sure. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I went to my.
Hey,
Go ahead.
I was going to ask, just for comparison, what are the dimensions of the Vigilante? Because I know it's big.
Oh man, I knew you were going to ask me something like that.
Well, just give me close. Was it over 50 feet long?
I would say yes, easily. Like I said, the horizontal stabilizer was the same size as an A4 wing. It was a big airplane. You could fold the wingtips, and you could fold the tail down, and you could fold the nose cone up. And it was a big-ass airplane. The guys, the ground crews on the flight deck crews, they hated them because they just took up so much room. I think they were all happy when they got rid of them all in 79. But it was a big-ass airplane. So...
Yeah.
So there was a very large aircraft there. I can't. That's in stuff.
That got up there. It's just hard to see, but it's very large for an aircraft carrier. Obviously, I was trying to pull up the dimensions rather than a super long link. So 77 feet long. Wingspan 53 feet, 1,800 miles, 1,319 miles per hour.
Yeah, when it first came out as the A3J, when it was going to carry nukes, it had a linear bomb bay, and they'd stick a big atom bomb up there, and you'd come by and you'd go straight up, and it'd plunge it out.
Wow.
And supposedly you could get away from it before the nuclear blast killed you. That was what they told all the pilots. But
right. You believe us, don't you?
They'd never lie to you, those engineers.
No.
Yeah. So anyway, it was a big airplane, and it was very scary around. You had to be real careful around the aircraft carrier because you had to put down all the flaps, and it had tons of drag trying to keep it flying with the wings it had. And if you got a little behind our curve on the power, it takes 2 or 3 seconds to spool up that J79. And if you're in the wrong place out of airspeed and ideas, you're going to probably hit the ramp.
Ooh.
So it was a scary. I was an LSO, and it scared the hell out of me as an LSO, and I flew it. So I knew it was time to tell everybody to jump in the net. But
there you go. And Styx is also telling us both the wings and the nose folded up to get her down in the hangar bay.
Yeah, you couldn't get the tail. It was too high for the hangar bay. So it was a big airplane, but it was fun flying. It was
holy smokes.
I mean, it just smoothed out about 500 knots. You felt like you were in a Cadillac. It was amazing.
Nice.
What was the visibility like from your seat?
Yeah,
because it looked like it looked like you didn't have a lot of backwards, but from the 3 9 o'clock.
Yeah, I could see out both sides, and I could see in front of me. The trouble with the Vigi was my cockpit was 14 feet in front of the nose gear, so that's a long way. So the night launches on Cat 4, I'd actually be out over water, waiting for them to turn me on the Cat 4. Everybody hated it. And every once in a while I have a guy tell me where he'd run my nose gear into the scupper that's supposed to keep you from going over the side. And I get all pissed off.
Right.
I get so pissed off. I mean, like, come on, at least just don't run my nose gear into the scupper, okay?
Right. Run me 13 and a half feet out, not 14. Come on. It just isn't that hard not to send me over the edge.
I don't even want to go to Cat 4. I just want to run 2 and 3 are fine.
Yeah.
So.
Exactly. So let's go back to, I think that was episode 12. We were on a mission from God where Sheriff describes Cats 1 through 4, their position on the aircraft carrier. So go back and listen to that if you're curious. So you opened with the story of being over North Vietnam and having a bad day. Can you tell us how that all started, how you got there? And I guess let's just go there. How did we get there from here?
So my backseater my RAN is Jim Lamb, and I do a pre-flight outside, and he jumps up in the back cockpit. And
okay, I'm sorry. One other thing.
Okay.
Give me what was his call sign? Tell me it was Chops. Lamb Chops.
The Vigis, we didn't have a lot of call signs.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Okay.
We were one of the few communities that didn't have a lot of call signs.
Interesting.
Right. There's a guy that did a show on all the planes, and he said, and ex-flying Vigis got big. Their balls are so big they don't even need call signs. But,
right on. Love it. So
anyway. Yeah, that would be a good one. But, so anyway,
okay, I'll stop interrupting.
Jim Lamb is in the back, and the Alpha Strike, about 30 airplanes launches, and they rendezvous over the ship. And so he comes on the intercom and says, "Hey, we got a problem. The cameras are all screwed up. I can only get one camera to work, and it's just a little one that, we can't be above 6,000 feet with this thing, or won't even take pictures." So I let him play with it, and they bring out some maintenance guys that can't get it to work. The whole time this is happening, the Alpha Strike heads off to our target, which was a complex where they had a lot of machines and whatever,
Military complex, right?
Storage complex. We lounge. Finally, we say, okay, we're going to go. We're just going to do the best we can with this piece of crap little camera. So we get on a Cat and launch in an F4 Escort. The guy's, his call sign was Bullet Beals because he was shaped like a bullet. He was a good pilot, but he wasn't going to be on any recruiting. I think he might hear this. I better not say that. But anyway, so Bullet, he's a good guy. He gets on my wing, and we start heading out over to the dry place, and we're down about 200 feet, like we're really going to fool somebody, and we're going like 600 knots trying to catch up. And then when we get closer to the coastline, we pop up to 6,000 feet, and we start heading in. And the Alpha Strike had a backup target because the weather was getting worse. And unbeknownst to us, they get to the target, and the weather's just too bad. And they actually even get beaconing So they changed their backup frequency and head off to the backup target down south where the weather's supposed to be better. And so me and Bullet were smoking up Red River Valley, and we're like the only guys over Vietnam that day that I know of. So we were tailing Charlie, and they were ready for us. So that's how we got into the position we were in, set everything up for what was.
Before you go any further, Hound, let's cover a couple things.
Yeah.
Alpha Strike was short for a giant strike.
It was never
package,
used before.
right?
It was
Lots of airplanes.
It came up in Vietnam because that's the way we were hitting the big targets. An Alpha Strike, it has to be authorized by the Joint Chiefs of Staff from the target list they had. It's not something like the CAG or anybody could do. And it had to come from way up high.
Meekening. Define meekening.
Meekening. That's where it's just a way of jamming your frequency. Somehow they figure out, we changed frequencies every Alpha Strike, but somehow they found our frequency and started jamming it. It's just a form of where you can't hardly hear what people are saying.
It would be it would be like a bunch of static all of a sudden, and you couldn't hear anybody, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and we had the aircraft were all close together until they started getting where it got dangerous. And if you had to, you could send hand signals to back up, switch over to backup frequency. So anyway.
All right. Well, thank you.
Anyway, that's those two. Yes, sir. And so we're heading up there, and he gets a spread formation on me. And all of a sudden, we have this ALR-45 that picked up radar, anything trying to lock you up. And I got a ground-to-air radar lock, and I looked down just in time to see the first missile lift off. It's a big red-orange flame. The SAM-2's about the size of a telephone pole. It accelerates to Mach 3, and it's coming right at me. And I'm going almost Mach, so we got a Mach 4 closure rate from about 35 miles.
Is it the front quarter or from the side?
Yeah, front quarter usually. Because I was going too fast, so yeah, you don't have a lot of time to think about it. You go, holy shit! And then I did a little turn, and it turned. I said, oh, it's on me, not Bullet. Damn it! Yeah, I really love Bullet, but I'd rather have it go after him.
Right?
Yeah, nothing personal. So what you do is practice this, avoiding a SAM. In an A5 rag, you wait till it gets too damn close, and then you dump chaff and brake hard because it's going Mach 3 and it can't turn. It can't make the turn.
Yeah.
And so I did that, and I watched this big behemoth thing go by me at Mach 4 and blow up behind the aircraft. I went, holy shit. I guess these guys are serious.
Yeah.
You know,
hey, Hound, just so our listeners understand this, you're doing this visually and kind of by it's now.
Yeah.
You know, there's no hard number on when to do the maneuver.
No.
You got to just go with your gut, right?
That's a gut move, yeah. If you wait too long, it'll hit you and kill you.
And if you do it too early, it can turn.
It'll turn on you, yeah.
God.
So, yeah, and you're all doing this at Mach 4 closure rate from 35 miles.
Right. And at least you got to do it a lot in training before you actually had to do it in real life. Oh, wait. No.
In the training, it was at A4 coming at me.
Yeah.
You have 400 knots.
Not very fast in as far as Mach goes. Holy
no.
Yes. If I had time to think about it, I said, wow, this missile's a lot faster than an A4, but I didn't have time.
Hey, and before you go any further, Hound, you said that your bullet was in spread, and I know what that means. Can you describe what that is for listeners that aren't tactical jet guys?
He's spread away from me on my right wing, about a quarter mile, and he's a little behind me. He's covering my ass.
Thank you
for MiGs.
All right, so the first SA2 goes blown by you. You beat that guy.
Yeah, and then I go, wow. I mean, okay, and that was not to be. I get another ground-to-air warning on my L45, and I see another SAM-2 lift off, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. Everything I've read, they shoot one at you. So went through the same thing again. Now, the only problem is every time I brake in this A5, it's made to go fast, not turn.
Yeah.
And every time I turn with those big wings and the
Yeah.
spoiler deflectors coming out, I slow down and I'm in max burner now. I'm in max burner, and every time I turn, I lose airspeed and altitude. So the second one, same thing. I've already practiced on one. I was really good at it. So I break in at the same time. And it goes flying by and blows up behind me. And I went, man, I said, okay, cool. Let's make sure we know where we're going. So I tell Jim Lamb, I say, hey, man, this is getting bad. These guys are pissed off. They must have a lot of SAM-2s. So it happens again. Just as that thing goes by, I get another warning, and I look down, and I see another one launching, and I go, you got to be shitting me. So when I started at 6,000 feet and 600 knots, I'm down to maybe 5,000 feet and maybe 500 knots. So every time I break, I'm losing airspeed and altitude. So this thing goes blowing by. I do the same damn thing and watch it blow up. And now I'm really good at this. I got this down. And so I said, okay, just make sure you know where we are and give me a heading to the target. And before you can reply again, same thing. ALR-45 goes off, and I see another one launching. They're all coming from the right side. And I'm like, you got to be shitting me. And by the way, while all this has happened, Bullet's also getting shot at. He's got a few lobbed at him. So he's trying to stay alive also. They're trying to drive him off my tail. So I think the fourth one comes by, and I break again. And I realize I'm out of chaff. I'm running out of airspeed and altitude. And I'm like, okay, there can't be any more of this shit. And I get another warning. And I look down, and two of them are lifting up.
Oh, geez.
One high, one co-altitude, and one coming up below me. And I'm like, okay, Jim, this is...
Picked the wrong week, quit sniffing glue.
I say, okay, Jim, this is it, man. Our ass is in a sling. We got to do something here. So luckily, I broke because I couldn't see the one below me.
Oh, shit.
So I just timed it on the one that was coming at me that I could see because they launched about the same time. And so I brake hard. I try to hit chaff. There's no chaff. And they go by, and one gets really close, but it doesn't hit me. Probably one coming up below me. So I'm like, God damn it. This is all going to shit in a handbasket. And so just about then, I get another alert, and two more lift off.
I wish I had the song, Why Is Everybody Always Picking on Me?
On me. Right? So this is another two missile launch. And I'm really getting down low. I'm down about 4,000 feet, maybe 400 knots, and I'm really running at it. I just don't want to get down into the quad triple, the quad 23 mic.
You are literally running out of airspeed and ideas, it sounds like.
Yeah, and that's what they try. If they can't hit you with the SAM, they at least want to drive you into the AAA, which is more effective. So I get through those two. I don't know how. And I'm like, God damn it, I'm getting adrenaline right now thinking about it. And then I get another one. And this time it's three. One high, one low, one co-altitude. And I am totally out of ideas, I see the high one, and Jim Lamb sees the low one. He says, hey, we got the low one coming up right underneath us. I can see it on my viewfinder. I went, holy shit. So I brake. I can see a high one. It's coming in from the left. So I say, I may as well brake in the one I can see. And that's what I'll do. And I brake left hard as I could. And they all go off at the same time. And Jim Lamb says, we're hit. I saw it go off on my viewfinder. I said, holy shit. So it's a big cloud of dust, and right about that time, Bullet saw what was going on. He called me and said, Brady, you got three incoming. And I said, yeah, well, thanks a lot. But that's about the same time he had one coming, so he broke. He just saw me go through that big cloud of smoke as all three went off. I thought we were dead, I really did. Yeah. And
so Hound, from start to finish on all these missiles, how long would you estimate it was?
7 minutes at most, 7 minutes.
Yeah. And are you in pretty much full burner most of the time?
I never came out of burner. Full burner. I had lots of fuel. But VG had 24,000 pounds of fuel. Yeah. So anyway, I'm waiting for fires and all the lights go on, and I'm looking at the instrument panel, and everything's fine. I said, you sure that hit us? But I did hear, I felt a boom, like I hit a road speed thing going about 10 miles an hour.
Yeah. You had a speed bump.
I hit a big speed bump. And Mach 4 speed bump.
Yeah, in this case, the speed bump hit you, but okay.
Yeah. But I look at my instrument panel and everything's really good. And I said,
Nice.
Okay, Jim, we're still alive. How far is it? How far are we out from the target? He goes, it's about 5 minutes. And I said, okay, give me a heading. And he goes, holy shit, I don't know where the hell we are. I got to do some kind of radar update because we've been braking so hard. I didn't know where we were.
Yeah.
So he does this RAN magic bullshit. And he says, oh, yeah, he gets mountains and stuff, and he triangulates. He goes, okay, come left 30 degrees. We're way off course. We're way east of Hanoi. We got to head towards Hanoi. And I go, okay. So I do that, and I start heading up there towards Hanoi. I accelerate back up to, 600 knots. I climb up to 6,000 feet, and we go over. We're all of a sudden we get to the primary target, and there's no bombs, there's no fighters, there's no nothing. And I'm like, shit, they must have gone to the secondary target. No, we're the only guys up here. We're all by ourselves just south of Hanoi, and they're pissed off. So we make our photo run. He says, go wings level. Photo cameras are on. So I hold cameras on I hold level for about a minute. He says, okay, we're done. We can turn off. And just as I'm starting to turn off the target, turn right towards VI, I look down and I say, shit, we're losing a lot of fuel. And as I'm braking right, I look over my shoulder and I see the fuel plume behind the aircraft. We're leaking fuel bad.
Oh, boy.
Everything else is good, but except, you need that fuel. You guys probably know that. So
good thing to have. Jet engines run better on fuel.
So then, just about then, I get on the same machine, the AL-445, I get an air-to-air strobe, just a little neat, like a little test, neat. And I look back over my shoulder, and there's a fucking MiG-21 rolling in on my ass. No. So I didn't think my ass would get any tighter, but it did. So I know he can't catch me if I really get some speed on, and I know he can't look down and shoot down on me. He's got to get right behind me. So I just dump the nose, keep it in burner, get right over the top of the jungle canopy. I'm like 50 feet off the canopy, going 700 plus knots. He says, "Hey Jim, what happens if this airplane starts coming apart? We're going too fast." And I said, "That's where you have to make the choice, If I slow down, the MiG will shoot me down. If I keep going fast and the airplane starts falling apart, I'm way outside the ejection envelope of my ejection seat." So I said, "I hope this plane hangs together because we're on a mission now. The die has been cast. We see what happens." And all of a sudden, the MiG's gone, and I say, "Wow, that's interesting." And then all of a sudden, I blow by bullet. He's up above me about 6,000 feet, coasting out at 450 knots, and I'm doing over 700. And so he calls me. He says, "Jim," he says, "Hound, that you, Jim?" He said, "Jim, is that you?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Slow the fuck down so I can catch up to you." So I pull it out of burner and I slow down, and he joins on me, and he says, "You're losing a lot of fuel. You got a big plume behind the airplane." I said, No shit, Sherlock." So we get feet wet, and Jim Lamb calls the carrier, the Saratoga, and says, "We need a clear deck. We need a clear deck. Mayday, mayday. We're low on fuel and we have combat damage." So we start heading back in towards the USS Saratoga. We're still like, I don't know, 15 miles out, and I'm looking down and I have 1,500 pounds of gas left. The fuel gauge is plus or minus 500 pounds, by the way. So I call the ball at 500 pounds, and Jim Lamb is in the back. We had the alternate ejection handles by your knees. You just turn them and pull them. So I call the ball, and I flew the best trap I ever had because I'm so scared. And get an OK 3-wire. If I just landed anywhere, I was going to get an OK 3-wire. I know the else.
Right.
Yeah. So as I'm taxiing out of the wires, the left engine flames out.
Oh, shit.
And it was that close. So I taxi over, park the A5 by the island, and we get out, and I could barely get out of my ejection seat. My knees were going, the adrenaline was on off the scale. I felt like I'd been in a bar fight, you know, a really bad bar fight. And so I'm trying to get a ladder up there. I'm trying to get down. It's hard to get my feet in the rungs, but I finally get on the ground. And then I look at the airplane and it's just full of holes. I went, holy shit. Geez. It was over 250 holes in the airplane. I just couldn't believe that good old 156 618 got back aboard the carrier, got us back. Good old airplane. And the CAG comes down with a pint of rum, and he hands us the pint of rum, and he says, I know you guys are all shook up, but have a few slugs of this and go get out of your flight stuff and come on up, and I want to debrief you in my quarters. And I said, yes, sir. So,
aye,
sir. I'll drink. That's awesome. I'll drink all this rum, and then I'll come up to your quarters. So
I'll drink to that.
Yeah, we went down, got a beer off, went up to it, and then my skipper was up there too, Jerry Catron, great guy, and we debriefed the CAG. He'd had like 400 or 500 missions in Vietnam. But he said, "Wow, that's a great story. That's something else." I said, "No, you couldn't make that one up." So that was that. And the Vigi, we had to offload it in the Philippines, and we'd already had one Vigi shot down over Haiphong Harbor. So we had 3 working Vigis, and 2 of them are gone in 3 months. So, but the guy that's in the one over Haiphong got out. Great story. They punch out. Actually, they didn't even punch out. SAM 2 went right through the middle of the airplane. They got smart. They get it close to your airplane, and then they turn on a radar at the last second. They were, so this one was coming from the side, and it just split the airplane in half. It never detonated, and they were punched out by the airplane. They never pulled the handle or anything. Somehow, the seats went off, and they floated down right a couple miles offshore, and the 5-inch batteries from the bad guys start having target practice on the rafts. They're sitting in the rafts, and then one of the on-duty destroyers comes flying over and has a gun battle with the 5-inch guns on the shore, and a couple of our helicopters from HS7 come in and pick them up and get them on the ship. But 2 airplanes in 3 months. That's not good.
That's rough.
So anyway, they offload it in the Philippines, and they replace all the fuel tanks and fix all the holes. And like 6 weeks later, I was flying from 156 618 again. So amazing stuff.
That is an incredible story. And from what I read, Styx points out, he's read your story as well. You essentially were in the middle of the explosion. Did Bullet thought you were gone?
Yeah, he thought I was a goner.
And then you flew out of this explosion like, can't hurt me.
Piece of cake. Cake.
I knew I was bulletproof, but I almost was bulletproof.
Right? Oh, yeah.
How it got through there, I have no idea. But it did, and here I am.
It wasn't your time.
Yeah. Hey, Hound, I was writing feverishly, so if I missed this, I apologize. But I thought I read in your article that as you were taxiing out of the wires, one of the motors
it flamed out. Yeah,
he just said that. Yeah,
it flamed out. The left engine, port engine flamed out.
Unbelievable.
And based on that, ran the numbers. You said you had 15 miles to go and 1,500 pounds of gas left. That comes to about where's the numbers at there? Yeah, almost 15 again. 14.9 gallons to the mile to get her home. Yeah. Not all of it going down the engine. Some of it just going out into the free air.
Yeah, and then to make me feel good, they launched the H6 tanker.
Yeah.
And so if I didn't catch a wire, he was going to refuel me. And I went, there's no way. I don't have enough gas to get to the end of the bow, So, but it was nice of him to think about me. Crazy time.
Well, yeah. It was a gentlemanly gesture.
It
was only a gesture. It wasn't going to help.
So that's the story.
My palms are wet. I read the story. They were wet then. You just told me the story. I'm sweating.
Yeah. And you know what? When it's all over, that's when you get scared. That's when the adrenaline.
Well, yeah,
I was just trying to stay alive. I wasn't thinking about anything but getting my ass. I just want to get feet wet. I want to get feet wet and punch out. That was my my goal, but I was able to make it.
Oh, wow. Did Bullet recover on the Saratoga, or did he go to another
He was
ship?
in VF 103 with us. He was in.
Okay.
So we always had a F4 escort, and it was always, we had 2 F4 squadrons. It was from one of them. And I wish I could tell you who his NFO was, Rio, but nobody knows. I called the guy. I found out the guy that was his normal Rio, and his mother died, and he wasn't there. And I called a bunch of the guys I knew in the squadron. Nobody can figure out who was in the cockpit or in the back of Bullet's plane. So if anybody hears this and you know it, please let us know. Because
Help us run that to ground.
I lost track of. I was trying to write. So how many SA-2s actually got fired?
11.
That's about 12 too many. Holy smokes.
Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of money. I just can't believe they shot that many at it. They wanted me dead, bad. And they had a lot of them. They just got them from Russia, and they were trying to figure out how to play with them, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you were the only show in town at the moment because everybody else went somewhere else. Holy shit.
And it turned out...
That is astounding to me that there's no way you should have survived that.
No, there is not.
No.
Just the odds of the missiles taking care of themselves doing their best.
I had no engine damage. I never hit a hydraulic line, fuel line. It was just... it's just incredible, to be honest. And like, for instance, one piece of shrapnel went through the back of the Jim Lamb's canopy and blew up a computer right behind his head. So if I'd been going 1 mile an hour slower, it would have taken his head off. And
my God!
And another one went through my left main gear door, hit the strut, went back through the door, and up and through the left wing. I mean, they were just zinging all over us. But But here I am. I don't know why.
Right.
Well, I'm glad you're here to tell the story. It's
amen.
It's an amazing story.
Yeah. So
one would think that the airplane would just come apart just through sheer, abuse after.
Well, see, in my end of my story, 156618 was it's like my old war horse. If I was in a cavalry.
I hope that's your lottery number, and you're out buying lottery tickets with those numbers.
And I got to fly. I had a great career. I flew A4s, RA-5s, A7s, F4s, and F14s because I did 2 tours in a test environment, even though I was never a test pilot. And if anybody asked me, what's your favorite airplane, I'd say it's the A.
That was my next question.
It has to be the RA-5, and it has to be 156618. I wish it was still around on a stick somewhere, but it was It's gone, and that's the way it is.
It's not even sitting in the desert.
They just took it. We flew it up to Jacksonville and turned it in. I don't know what they did with it. Yeah. And like I said in the beginning, I did go on a med cruise after that and took my brag with me on that one, and that was on the American. And we're still together, luckily.
Thank you.
She puts up with a lot.
Thank you to her and you both for your service, and for people that don't think so. I'll tell you what, the military families, the spouses and the kids are providing just as much service, giving that stable home life at home.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
And I go to, I live right by Patrick Air Force Base, and they have a great tiki bar. And I go there every Friday night, and I'm surrounded by Special Forces guys, PJs, all from Vietnam. We have some, boy, you talk about some stories. We have some stories.
We appreciate your story.
We need to do a live show from Patrick's Tiki Bar on a Friday night.
Right.
You guys got to come down and we'll buy beers, But
how much fun would that be, Fig?
RePete, I think we need to put something on the books.
We got to find a way to do that. Absolutely.
And so, and a lot of my friends are PJs from Vietnam, and they always say, hey, I tell them my stories, and they tell me their stories about going in the middle of the jungle to pick guys up and getting helicopters shot out from under them. It's just amazing. And I said, I'm so happy you never had to come see me in Vietnam. I'm really happy.
Boy, right? So,
anyway,
jeez,
I really appreciate you guys giving me a chance to tell my story.
Listen, the pleasure is ours, Hound. And, these stories, we never get tired of hearing stories, especially combat stories from Vietnam and Korea. Well, and, now we've had veterans from every conflict almost, except World War II, tell their stories. And they're just all amazing.
They really are.
I'm glad you guys are doing it. What I was trying to say is I really appreciate what you guys are doing. I was trying to say that, but and I know you're humble men, and you do a great job, except screwing up the sound a little now and then. But except for that,
thank you.
Hey,
thank you very much. There we go.
We say when we're at the happy hour and stuff, if he's not giving you shit, he doesn't love you.
Oh, right, exactly. What are you going to do?
Really right.
Oh man.
Okay.
Well, that's awesome. Let me ask before we close out. Let me just ask. Tell us about the rest of your career. So that was when was that? 72.
That was 6 August 72. I did a couple more med cruises with Heavy 1. I went to Heavy 3 as a RAG instructor, and then they needed a LSO and an A5 pilot up at Pax River in carrier suitability. So I went up there and I was an LSO, and I guess I had a mechanical engineering degree and a minor in aeronautical engineering. Thank God I got through thermodynamics. So they let me do some of the test work, which I really appreciated. They let me do it for arrested landing weights because nobody else wanted to do it. I had to touch down at 1,500 feet a minute just to make sure the struts didn't come up through the wing.
That seems kind of hard, bro.
That's a serious rate of descent.
Yeah, I had to borrow from my kids' shin guards from soccer because when I hit, my feet would pop up underneath the instrument panel, and I'd get all bruised. And the engineers kept saying, "Yeah, no, it should be able to do this," And I said, "You sure? I mean,
it should.
All right, I'll try it."
Yeah. You should be able to do this.
I like the fact they said it should be able to do this. It should.
After Pax River, I went back to the Heavy 12 and did a cruise with them on the Kennedy, and then I came back to Key West. It was MAS Key West at that time, and they were getting rid of all the Viggies, so I helped shut them down. And then the Commodore said, "Okay, I got 2 jobs. You can go to Pentagon and work for a captain that's really a great guy. He'll make sure you make captain or commander." And I said, "What's the other job?" He said, "Well, you can go to VX4 and do the OPEVAL, operational evaluation on a tactical air reconnaissance pod system for the F-14. I said, "Really?"
Okay, so hold on here. These are my choices. I can go to the Pentagon and fly a desk.
Yeah. Or I could, and I said, "They got any other airplanes in VX4? He goes, "Yeah, they got A4s and F4s. You can fly those too." I went, tough to see anybody. He said, "You might not make commander." I went, "You know what?
Okay.
Who cares?" When I was lucky, I did well and made commander and got to fly A4s every day. A4s, when I wasn't testing, I'd either go almost every day, fly ACM and the A4 to F4 to F-14. It was probably the best flying in my life.
That's awesome.
That is fantastic.
You deserve.
And then I finally
day of hell.
I finally retired, and I got real lucky, and I got hired by Delta, and I flew with them for a while. And then I told RePete they were going to go bankrupt, so I retired early, 58. And then I came back to Melbourne, and this little company, they did charter work, and they said, "We need a chief pilot. Would you like to be our chief pilot?" And I said, "Well, hell yeah, why not?" And so I got to fly light twins, Beach jets, and King Airs down in Bahamas a lot. And then at 62 and a half, I finally decided to hang it up. But I had the great, except for getting my ass shot off in Vietnam, I had a great flying career.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
It's an amazing career, and thank you for sharing all that.
Yeah, sure.
Wow.
Indeed.
You're welcome.
Indeed.
I'm a very lucky man, and I have a great wife, by the way. That makes it even. I did a lot of cruises, and she pretty much raised the kids till I retired from everything. And
Well, the military families are indeed a national asset, as Nasty once put it. Great support, and our military wouldn't be nearly what it is today without the families at home sacrificing and keeping things on the even keel. So we're grateful to her as well. So thank you to both to your service.
All right. Well, thank you too. Back at you.
All right. Well, if you'll hang with us for just a couple minutes, we got to get another couple of thank yous out of here, Fig. First and foremost, the folks over at Backbeat Media who help us with all the advertising on this show, and none other than Dave Hamilton, who has the Mac Geek Gab, the Gig Gab, and the Business Brain. And if you have any questions for us, you have any questions for Hound, reach out to us at fig@sothereiwas.us, repeat at sothereiwas.us, or sticks at sothereiwas.us. If you have any questions on thermodynamics, ask Sticks. Give us the easy ones. just to be clear on that. We got a couple other things. We've got a glossary. If we've hit some terms here, we tried to explain them all. We probably missed one or two. Go look in the glossary. If you don't see it, shoot us a note and tell us what you want to hear. Fig. Oh, you don't have your shirt on today. Well, if you wanted a shirt, if you wanted another shirt, how would you get that?
Well, we have a merch store. If you go to sothereiwas.us/merch, you can get that bikini that I always talk about, or a shirt, or mugs, or what else? I mean, there's shot glasses, towels.
Thanks to Brad Silcott over at BDS Aviation Photography.com, who lets us use some of those pictures.
Well, yeah.
Thank you to all our Patreon pilots, the section leaders, the division leaders.
Oh, my God.
Sal Marinello stepped up again this week. He's a double aircraft commander. God bless you, Sal. That is over and above way, way, way too much. We are deeply grateful, and we will indeed put it all to good use. So,
thank you, Sal.
Yeah. God bless you. Appreciate your service as well. There's a couple other folks we need to thank, Fig. Anyone coming to mind?
Well, it's the music that makes me remember. It's the two Air Force F-16 pilots that make the Air Force sound good. That's Dos Gringos.
Dos Gringos. If you haven't heard their music, go find them on Amazon Music, Spotify. The Dos Gringos are fun, talented, amazing aviators and musicians, and they've joined us on the show. Go back and listen to Which Child Is Your Favorite and They Lack Judgment. Both good shows. And last thing, what should everybody do to support us? If they can't throw a buck at us, what we do need you to do is what?
Well, first of all, share the show.
Here it is, share it.
Share the show and give us a 5-star review.
Go to Apple Podcasts, give us a 5-star review. We've got 107 of them. I think we're going to start reading some of those. They are amazing. They're humbling. Not just to stroke our egos, but to help other people understand what it is that we have stumbled bass-ackwards into here. we have so many amazing folks like Hound on the show with us, and we are just blessed to be able to get to meet these folks and to learn about their lives and the incredible things that they've accomplished. So,
and now we're getting their stories on audio and video for forever,
for posterity's sake.
That's important.
Yeah,
it is indeed.
It's an archive. It's a historical aviation archive. Damn it,
we're making it so.
I just, I didn't even know about you, and I started listening to your podcasts. They're excellent. I really enjoy it.
Wow.
Okay.
Thank you. We're humbled. All right, everybody. Well, until next week, stay safe and check 6.
Thank you.
There I was, crossing the pond, and you could see that I wasn't exactly fond of all the shit I was wearing on that day. Now an F-16 is cramped enough, but it's even worse with all that stuff supposed to save your life. But we knew there was no way. 'Cause when you're going down the North Atlantic, man, it's over.
What do you say, Fig?
He said it's over.
It's over. Okay. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go get a cold beer.
When this is over, I'm hitting the sauce.